Okay, so welcome to today's success strategy webinar. We do these Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, generally at 12 p.m. East. The replays are at insiderealestate.com/webinars, the link that you can see on the screen here. Somebody let me know you can hear me, and we'll get going with the topic today, which is May the Force Not Be With You, a forced registration conversation. So what I was hoping to talk about today, this is one of my favorite topics, and I was thinking about, I was launching a campaign locally and I wanted to test this out more. The idea of running traffic to your KV course site without requiring registration. So this is kind of a hot button issue that I think over the years, it's been around as long as I can remember. I remember people talking about this, before the 2010s. But I think over the years, I think the tides have turned a little bit, and I think it's becoming more of a 50-50 thing. So just wanted to kind of explore it, and I think I'm going to start off by just showing you what the feature that I'm talking about and how you go about turning registration on and off inside a KV course. So if I go here to Web and IDX, like so, and I go to, I should have done this before. I click Edit Settings. And it's a setting in here, I think about a third of the way down, if I'm remembering right. There it is. And you can see we have our forced lead registration. And we also have the mandate phone, which I don't have in the doc here, but I think this ties in too. I'm a big fan of, we'll start with that. I'm a big fan of leaving the phone mandate off. I know a lot of people swear by having it on and being able to call all the leads. But just real quickly, I'll mention it. I like having it off. I found that over the years, this ties into the forced registration thing. As people realize that they can search for properties for free, the incentive to give a phone number is reducing. There's lots of sites out there, Zillow, Realtor.com, that they know they can go to. So the incentive to give a real phone number is reducing. And I think that the trend has been more fake phone numbers. And the trend has also been that the younger, just sort of the younger demographics, they're so used to texting and other ways of communicating, instant messaging, that they don't really want to get on the phone in a lot of cases. So you end up with fake phone numbers, or you just end up with a straight bounce off your site. So it's a separate setting, but just keep that in mind. We run into this a lot in the advertising department. A lot of people see very drastically lower results when they mandate phone on Google ads, for example. And my counter, the answer to this, to me, is that if you leave the phone off and you focus on creating content, like we talked about yesterday with blogging, and you deliver valuable, interesting stuff. Even you have people set up for alerts that eventually people are going to contact you when they're ready to buy or sell. So you don't really need the phone number because you're just going to have inbound calls for you. That's kind of the theory anyway. So that's the mandate phone. And then we have this forced lead registration setting right here. And you can see by default, it should be turned to require registration. I think 1, is there a default? Normal, okay. Normal is prompt required registration after one property view. So this is kind of the default that we have on all sites out of the box. And this is what we generally drive traffic to in our ads products, where we've tested this. And we know that you're going to get the highest percentage actual people becoming leads if you do one property view. It's just kind of, we've sent thousands and thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of clicks, maybe a million or more clicks. And we just kind of know over the years that this does work for specifically lead generation from a paid traffic source. You're going to get the highest quantity, not to speak to quality, which is where I think I want to take this conversation, is that if you do start to play with some of these other settings, like if you require registration after 7 views, or in my case, I'm going to just turn it totally off. If you do this kind of thing, you'll definitely find that you get less leads, but you might really find that anybody who goes out of their way to opt in and request information about a specific property, or if they opt in the other ways you might do this that I'm going to talk about in a minute, you're going to get a higher quality lead. So this is where that setting is. That's what we're talking about today. And let's go ahead here and just talk about some of the reasons why. And feel free to chat in and give your thoughts and perspective on this too. Let me know what you have it set at. I'm going to assume most of you guys have it set to force registration after 1 or 2 visits. But if you are doing unforced, let me know. Let me know what you think of it. Reasons why you would keep it on. And Dan, I'll answer your question towards the end there. But why would you keep it on? Well, like I just said, you know that cold Google clicks, for example, 10 to 11% across North America will become leads. It's kind of been proven. You would keep it on, of course, if you have a team that expects a lot of leads from you and you have traffic, maybe you have a really big site, you have a lot of presence in your market, and you have a lot of traffic coming in, and you count on those organic leads or those people opting in, and you feed your team with them. And if you've already got something working with these settings and you're running your business using KV Core and you have forced registration on, I'm definitely not saying to turn that off. Because if you got a good system in place and it's working for you and you don't want to mess with it, definitely leave it on. Now, what are the reasons why you would turn it off? Well, I mentioned before, consumers know they can search for free elsewhere. So the reason you would turn it off is because you want to stop the bouncing off of your site. If only 10% are opting, 90% are leaving, some are giving fake numbers or fake emails. Instead, you want to stop them from bouncing off, and you want to allow more engagement with your site's content. In particular, since we have a real estate site here, we're talking about the listings on your site. So we want people to come on, search around, and not get kicked off so that they can engage more with the content. Along with that, another reason now, and this is sort of modern ad tech, we talk about retargeting a lot, but you can allow for the building of better audiences. So, anytime somebody visits your website, you have the opportunity to have a Facebook or a Google Pixel, and you have the ability to start collecting data about what they do. And you can create audiences in Facebook based on the amount of time they spent, which pages they visited. So if you have it wide open, you can allow for the building of better audiences that you can then show ads to afterwards. So I have some time. I'm going to go ahead here and just show you what I'm talking about with respect to Facebook's audience building, just to give some context for those of you who don't, who that might be abstract for. So I'm going to go up here, business tools, and go to audiences. Here we go. And then when you go in Facebook, for example, when you go to create a custom audience, you have all these options. You can upload customer lists. You can do a bunch of different stuff. But in particular, I'm talking about the website targeting, so the people visiting your website. And you can see you can target people who visit specific pages right here. But you can also target by time spent. I know this might be small for you guys. Let me try to make it bigger. Visitors by time spent. So here, if you've got registration on, right, and you're trying to target and separate out the top 25 or top 5% of visitors, well, that's going to be a lot smaller sample if you're just telling people to get off your site by throwing a registration at them, because they're going to bounce off. So if you're taking this kind of longer, more nuanced approach to your edge, and you're saying, hey, my top of funnel is that I have all these audiences. That's like your first phase in the funnel. It's at the very top. Is I'm going to build my audiences first. Then maybe I'll go back and show them ads. If you're doing that, then you would have registration off. And you'd want to allow more people to spend time on the site. You'd also want to allow them time to eventually visit, specific pages like your recruiting page, your, find your homes value page, because you can attach all those visitors to specific audiences. So just for context, that's what I'm talking about there. People who visit specific web pages and the time spent in the audience building. I'm in Facebook right now, Luann. So I did jump into Facebook. And this is Facebook's Facebook Ad Manager's built-in audiences option. So I am delving off. This is a little more advanced territory for those of you guys. But this is why, if you're a little more advanced and you're taking kind of a next level approach to your lead generation, you're treating audiences as your top of funnel, then logically it makes sense to not encourage people to leave your site, in my opinion, by having that registration on. And the other reason you would do this is because you want people to be able to come to your site. So I have mine off now. You want them to be able to come straight here. It's taking a second to load. And you want them to be able to just kind of take their time, and search properties and not be bothered by that pesky deal there. Because as they do, you see I'm scrolling through a bunch of properties. The chances that they do something like this, oh, that's a dope property, right? And that they click and they want to chat with you now, or if they want to request a tour or something, that they then opt in. And when that person asks a specific question about a property and they become a lead through the actual property page, that's a higher intent lead, it's a higher quality. So if you only want to deal with people who proactively engage with your site for now, maybe you're just a one-person team, you don't have time to work 15 Google leads a day, but you're happy to work the few that are really proactively engaging with properties. That would be a good reason to have it off. That's the why you keep it off. And then the last one I have here, and it's kind of like another reason you add it off is because you've added other ways to capture leads to your site. And this is kind of the answer to, well, if I turn it off, can I still capture leads? And really the answer is yes, there's lots of ways to do that, especially via third-party platforms. So I'm going to go to, I hope I can remember his site, Ernest, who hosted last week. Ernest, if you're on, chat me your link. I wanted to show an example of a site that has a hello bar, or, oh, I nailed it. Okay. So Ernest, he uses a ManyChat Facebook Messenger bot right down here, right? So, you know, he could, and he also uses a hello bar. I love you, Ernest. Thank you. He's also using Thanks.io's address sniffer. He's awesome. All right, so he's got a great examples here. So Ernest could have his registration turned totally off because he has this hello bar going on, right? So if I click this, he's linking this to a form that lets people set up search alerts. He's using a third party. He's using the hello bar. He links to Cognito forms. And, you know, he's generating a higher quality lead. He's getting more information about that lead right there. And then the other thing he's got going, he's got this awesome ManyChat messenger bot. So I'll go ahead and walk through this right here. And he can buy or get his home value. And then, you know, this is a really good lead too, because then you're getting their Facebook profile. So, so basically, if you've kind of done this, and I would say that if you're turning off registration, it doesn't hurt to do this stuff. This kind of doesn't get in the way of the experience, right? It's just, you know, they might minimize it. The hello bar might be there in the top, but they can still search properties freely, become a hot lead like I just described. But if you've built your own kind of third-party ways to generate leads, then you could have your forced registration off as well. So just a few examples there of what that looks like. And then finally, I have a note here. It says, hey, can I have it both ways? And yeah, the answer is you definitely can. So if you're doing a lot of, I got this question from Delia here, local in Florida. You know, she said, how do I send somebody a property without the registration being on? I was like, yeah, you can go in and you can go build a squeeze link and have the property registration off. Or you might say, because like her, you tend to get a lot of organic local people know you, and you have a lot of people coming to your site from your email signature and your friends and family. You don't really want to make them opt in. You can leave registration off, do it the other way around. Instead of turning it off on a case by case, you can actually leave registration off, but when you do your lead generation for specific things, you would use the IDX squeeze page builder here or a landing page, and then you can set registration on those particular links. So if you have registration off on a specific link, but then you turn it for your whole site, I'm sorry, if you have registration off for your whole site, but then you turn it on for a specific link like you can do here, that setting will take, and you can require registration. So you do have the best of both worlds with KV Core. There's a ton of flexibility here, and it's just really cool. And I just think a lot of people, you know, because most people just get your site, you just kind of start using it with the defaults, and you don't consider these things. So I thought it'd be fun to talk about here today. So I'll go ahead and look at the comments. That took us a good 10, 15 minutes. That's what I like to start with, some kind of topic for discussion here, and then I'll answer any questions you might have here. I'll look over in the chat. So Leah says she's had it to 4 because the trainer said to leave it, but agrees with me. Yeah, so you can, the trainer might have had a specific reason for that, but the bottom line is you have a lot of flexibility. There's no 100% right answer. Just consider the things I talked about, you know, as you set your registration. You know, consider things I talked about and how they apply to you. So Dan is, let me just see. Okay, cool. So I'll answer your questions in order. Dan, if you had your first listing live today, how would you promote it on your website? I would like to get some ads or free views on Facebook today for my open house. So no, it's fine to be off topic, Dan. We're here to answer questions like these. So, you know, if you got your first listing, definitely, I'm going to mention Property Boost. That's our paid option. You know, that's kind of like the default. You can go into Property Boost and advertise an open house. I think you might be a little late for this week, but if you're doing an open house next week, you could run that now, or just run a regular Property Boost. That'll get you, you know, an ad live with traffic running to it pretty quick for that property. The other thing I would do, of course, is go ahead and post it to Facebook as a listing of the day. So, you know, go to your regular Facebook and just say new listing, property listing today. I'm having an open house, kind of common sense. Go ahead and you can post a squeeze link to that, or just post directly the URL. So, you know, just do property pretty, new listing, open house this Sunday at football time. And then it's at 1 p.m. when football season comes. I just can't. The open house just makes me cringe. Like, I remember all those days watching football at the open house. All right, open house is Sunday at football time. Click here for details. And then just link to KV Core. Right. So definitely do some social posting. You do your LinkedIn, do your regular. I'm biased. I like direct mail. So definitely send some just listed postcards. Don't forget to do that. What other tools do we have here? You could build a text code for your listing. So if you have a sign writer, right, you could build a text code. So go here to call capture and include that on the rider if you haven't done that already, right? So, 123 main, and then you could put the MLS ID in here. And then if somebody texts, they'll get texted back the MLS ID, or you can just reply, just put the link here. Right there, so you can do a text reply. The other thing, I talk about this a lot when we do our text code webinars. Consider the newspaper. I know it sounds crazy, but a lot of people advertise in the newspaper, but they never put some kind of call to action. They just put a picture of the house and say open. But I would definitely advertise the text code in a newspaper ad if you're using the newspaper, because people are sitting there at the diner having their coffee. Maybe less so these days, but they're sitting at home at their kitchen table having a coffee. And they see the newspaper. Some people still do that. They look at the newspaper, and then it says text for pics and for price and pictures. You can do that kind of ad with a text code. Don't forget Craigslist. Right? You can go into the listing and send a Craigslist. So yeah, there's a nice suite of things. And Dan, if that's one of your first listings, if you haven't been a listing agent and had many, I definitely recommend come up with that listing servicing plan, like that bullet pointed list of 20 things you do. You can use that plan to actually generate listings by showing it in your listing appointment, of course, and by mailing it out. The first listings I got, just a tangent, way back in Philly in like 1999, was I sent a letter to 106 condos that said the 23 ways I'll market your property, and there were like 6 listing appointments out of that. I was scared. I was really scared. The broker had to help me. 19, but it worked. So, use KV Core. If you're going to send a mailing, you could send a letter, for example, and then have people text you to see the price and picks, or send a postcard. You can integrate with the tools we have here. Okay. Yep. Luann, I'll get to yours. Okay. So lots of questions, guys. I'm going to get to you all. Okay. So Kevin's asking, he has ManyChat. How do you set it up in KV Core? Who can I turn to? So, right now, I think we're looking at making ManyChat setups a service potentially. But right now, if you go into the marketplace, Ernest is our coach that he hosted last week. Ernest is doing most of the coaching, and he is a ManyChat wizard. So we actually chatted about this because he said he had somebody ask him. For now, if you want to just schedule a coaching session, I think he'll help you. I mean, I don't want to put him on the spot, but if you just need kind of like a shared screen and somebody showing you what to do for an hour, that would be an option. I just know that right now, Ernest is the guy doing those, and he's the expert. If you're watching this replay later, I can't guarantee that whoever's doing the coaching sessions will know ManyChat like Ernest does, but if you're watching this live and you do want to explore ManyChat, I know he can help and is open and likes to talk about it. So that would be my advice. You can also go into the Facebook group, though. If you just have an issue, just go in there and be like, hey, I'm trying to set up ManyChat. Here's where I'm at. What should I do? And people will reply. We've got a really good community there of people who are willing to help out. So if you don't want to spend the money for the coaching session, go ahead into the group and see if you can get the help there as well. Okay. Let's see. Next question. Oh, what's Ernest's website address? You guys all want to check it out. All right. I don't know if I guess you can opt in. It's not going to kill him. I wouldn't opt into the one up top, but I don't think hitting his ManyChat will. I'll just let him know that if you got a bunch of people, all of a sudden that's what it was. So there's his link if you want to check it out. Do I have a second to say what hashtags are good for? Sure. Lots of things within KV Core. Hashtags power a lot of stuff. First major thing, of course, is just sorting and segmenting your leads. So we have our contact statuses, that you can put people in. But if you want more filtering, the ability to filter and separate people out, hashtags are the way to go. You can see here I have hashtags like home valuation, set valuation, deals. They give you a lot of flexibility. So if you want to filter and find a certain type of lead, you can search by hashtags. That's kind of one of the main ways. Another ways hashtags are used, you can use them to automatically trigger property alerts. So if you go here into Marketing Autopilot, pretty much my favorite KV Core feature is as I get a hashtag for a specific type of lead source to set up automated property alerts. So you can trigger, you can use the hashtag that came in to trigger search alerts. And then another big way that hashtags are used in the system is in smart campaigns. So you can trigger smart campaigns based on a hashtag. You can also assign hashtags as people reach certain points in a campaign. You can add those as campaign events. So let's say you're running, like I have my deals funnel here, and I wanna just reach out. I just want to be able to search everybody who's been in that campaign for 10 days. I could go and I can add the hashtag 10 days in campaign or something, right? Add a tag, 10 days in campaign. Or I might add the hashtag, past client for 1 year at 365, right? So I can quickly find all the people I've closed a deal with more than 1 year ago. So lots of uses, but mostly it has to do with sorting and segmenting leads, and also for triggering events like smart campaigns and hashtags. Cool. Giovanni's asking, our text code is really effective. It's all about how you use them, of course. If you're offering compelling info and people want the information bad enough, text codes can be very effective. If there's a sign outside, if my neighbor's house goes up for sale, right, and I've lived next door to the thing for 10 years, and there's a sign writer there, and it says, and I don't know the price, but I see the for sale sign went up, and it says text for price and pics, right? Well, first off, I'm probably curious about what their house looks like inside if I've never been inside, right? And I'm also curious about how much they're selling it for. So I think in that example on a sign writer, they are very effective. I see lots of people use them. And also if you're doing specific postcard, direct mail lead generation or offline lead generation, they're effective. Try putting a text code on a billboard, for example. They're just a wonderful way to track a result, and also to quickly get into a conversation with somebody. Because remember, as soon as the text code is texted, you have the ability to start talking to people. So you can reply and say, hey, here's that information you wanted. By the way, are you looking to buy a house soon? Something like that. So here's my open houses text code. Hi, here's the link to this week's open houses. Just some examples. Hi, thanks for registering. I'll shoot you whenever I post a new real estate video. This is my property tour videos text code. So if you want to get notified about new property tours, home value report. This was for a direct mail campaign. Thanks for requesting your report. What's your street address and zip code? I sent this. I sent a postcard to the whole, I didn't buy the right mailing list, and it went all over the country. I didn't get any leads. That's a fail, but that's what that was for. And it could work if I had actually sent it to people in the local market, not been a bonehead. All right. I think that's it. No more questions here. Oh, and Dan's asking, could he link to the video? Hey, thanks for sharing this, Dan. If you don't mind, I'll share it with everybody. But definitely, I would. I don't know if this is a tour or not. Let me see. For sure. So I would run this. I might run this, upload this directly to Facebook, and the actual raw video file, and then have people click to get more details. So don't show them the price unless it's already in the video. But is it? Nope. So maybe have them opt in to see the price and more pictures or get more details. Or you could just run it in stream with a link to the open house, to register for details about the open house. Lots of different ways. How'd you do the video? Did you do it yourself? Yeah, it would have to be on your business page in order for you to run the ad. But yeah, good editing on the page. So it looks like you did a little bit of an intro where you're just talking in front of the house, and then you transitioned into kind of like a slideshow, right? which is kind of a better way. Like every time you get somebody doing it, every time I've done a walking tour, my wife always tells me it's too shaky, and people might rather just see the slideshow here. But that's a nice touch where you talk about the house out front first. A DJI Pocket Osmo and drone. Wait a minute. Right, now we're getting fancy. DJI Pocket Osmo. I might need to have you on as a guest to talk about this newfangled technology. All right. Okay, so it's a stabilized handheld camera. And did you do the drone photos yourself, or did you hire somebody to do those? Oh, cool. So you use this to take the pictures. And oh, Phantom. So everybody who wants a tech tip here. Thanks, Dan. So a little bit of tech, and you did the drone yourself. And he's saying, I don't know if everybody can see it, but he's saying any Morgan could do it. He did it. So yeah, I mean, I know that people pay to have this stuff done. Oh, so you hooked it up to you hooked your Osmo thing up to your drone, I'm guessing. Okay, they're both regular cameras. Okay. Yeah, I need to have somebody on. Dan, maybe I'll get with you after if you want to. But I think it would be good if we had somebody on to talk about this, drone photography, what tools they're using. I know Andrew Robinson out in Ohio does a lot of this. I think that would be a topic that people would be pretty into. And yeah, it doesn't need to be hard these days. It looks like these apps are really, it's gotten a lot simpler than it probably was 5 years ago, where you need to go hire somebody who knows what they're doing to do it. Cool. Thanks, Dan. I'll probably share this link to the group. If you don't mind, I'll share your video maybe. Right there. Great. Okay. So the Ken Burns effect, Kevin's saying. Cool. So if there's no more questions, let's see, then we can get going. But basically, yeah, I kind of wanted to get this content down, talk a little bit about the forced registration stuff. Hope you guys find that useful to consider. Feel free to share this with somebody else at your office if you're making that decision. InsideRealEstate.com/Facebook group is where I'll post a recording later today. And all of our recordings are at InsideRealEstate.com/webinars. And we'll be back next Tuesday with the next kind of episode in this series. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day. See you later.